open your evil mind.
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And the sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the borough of Kings, live and direct.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Yes, and this show is the Cold Slither Podcast. Of course, is on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's CSPN.US.
Do it today.
Indeed. And you can find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcast, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Yes, indeedy. Folks, we have a nice svelte show for you this week, if I may say so myself. We are going to start off with Agent 70 talking about his experience with viewing the Chainsaw Man movie, the Reze arc, I assume what it's called, unless they made that clear to you.
Yes, that was very clear in the attraction. So I went to watch this movie Wednesday night, yesterday evening. So it was an early screening, courtesy of Crunchyroll. And so, if you were a Crunchyroll subscriber, you're able to get access to these early screenings. And I kind of lucked into, and I really mean this with all due respect, because I saw that there was a notation next to the theater that I had to pick, because the normal theater that my buddy and I go to watch anime movies, on opening night, we were a little late to this particular game, so we were not able to get like good seats for like an evening showing of Chainsaw Man, with subtitles. And I would not sit in the second row. I was like, no, I'm not sitting up there. Let me get the tickets. So I picked a different theater, and like I said, I kind of had an inkling that these tickets might be a little different. But when I looked at the Fandango listing, I thought it was ScreenX, but I wasn't sure because it said standard, right? So I couldn't, so I don't know if standard meant standard as in non-3D or just that it was standard, but in a ScreenX version, right? So so if you're not familiar with ScreenX basically is like an expanded view of a movie where the print is like altered, I guess, to project onto the primary screen in the front of the theater, plus the sides of the sides of the theater on the walls, so that you're basically looking at three monitors or three screens of acting as the projection surface for the movie. And it really was done very well. And the way the movie, I believe, was adapted to make use of the ScreenX experience was just jaw-dropping. Like, you know, a lot of the people in my theater, my buddy at Boss Jones on Instagram, and myself, we were all commenting on this right after the movie. Like, none of us had any real idea that this was going to be a ScreenX experience, and we were all better for it. We were all better for having seen it in this, you know, in this fashion, in this format. In terms of the movie and the animation, listen, they're going to go hard. It's Mappa Studios, so they went hard, right? This is not a One Punch Man issue, apparently, you know, which is going on with their current season. This is, you know, movie quality. This is like Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle stuff. So, you know, really, really top-notch animation. I understand this is an adaptation of the manga, like basically 20 plus chapters of the manga, the Reze arc. So at the end of the day, I can now go back to the manga and read through, I think it was like chapter 62 or something like that, and be spoiler free. You know, I won't be spoiling anything that I'm going to see in the anime if I read up to 60 plus chapters of the manga. You know, but I definitely recommend, you know, like if you're caught up on Chainsaw Man, it's only one season so far. There's only been one season so far, so you can basically binge that before going out to see the movie. If you can catch it in ScreenX, I would recommend it highly. You know, if you have a ScreenX theater in your town, go check that out. Go check out this movie and see if it's playing on a ScreenX screen.
Yeah, standard does normally stand for like, you know, non-3D. I mean, yeah, non-3D. And as you were talking, I was actually just checking Fandango to see, and as I expected, as I knew that we don't have any ScreenX showings here, which not surprised by that, honestly. I am suspect on the IMAX theater that we have across town also, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't think it's like a legit IMAX theater?
I'm actually
or IMAX screen?
I'm actually fairly certain it is, but I don't know that for actually. I have not had confirmation of that. Put it that way.
Maybe it's not like what it is. What my understanding of IMAX is that like the traditional IMAX screen was gigantic.
Right.
The modified IMAX, I think, is IMAX sound and like IMAX projection, but the screen size is
Right.
not the traditional IMAX screen.
Correct.
I watched the stupid Avatar movie, I think, on a lesser IMAX screen, so I'm familiar with what you're what you're talking about.
Right. Like I said, I don't know that for certain because one, that joint's across town, and I rarely ever go around there. Well, I used to go around there a lot because I used to work over there, but I don't go over there that often at all anymore. So, and that would be a trek that I'm not entirely willing to make for a movie.
I love it. Roddykat's like across town. I'm like, okay, how far could that really be?
It is it is quite across town, from me anyway. So yeah, and the traffic that I would have to go through for that is not worth it. So, despite, you know, this ain't the biggest town in the world, but you know, something's like, you know what, if I ain't got to do it, I ain't gonna do it. Period. So that's good. I'm glad you had fun with that. Like I was telling you before the show, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I just need to see where if I need to catch up with the thing. As you reminded me, it might be a pretty good thing to just rewatch it anyway, just kind of get your bearings up to date.
Right. And like I said, you know, today, as we record this show, it's Thursday. So technically, today is the preview night for the movie. So if you catch it before the weekend is out, you're still ahead of the game. If you catch it the week after, the opening weekend, I think you'll still be fine in terms of like finding theaters and having choices of theaters to go see it in. So, you know, I think the only time that you start to run into issues is, I think, once you get past that first week, depending upon what other movies are coming out. I know that the Demon Slayer movie is still showing in theaters in Manhattan, but it's in fewer theaters.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, I haven't tried to look to see where they might be in Brooklyn, but I can tell you that in Manhattan, at least in central Manhattan, you know, like Times Square, 34th Street, the Demon Slayer movie still is playing.
Right. Also, as I was looking on looking on Fandango, there was the IMAX theater has this thing called RPX, which I'm assuming that is the IMAX like experience that I was referring to. So but I still don't know.
RPX is the sound.
Right. Yeah.
RPX
Well,
is the
it
sound.
says well from what I saw, it says sound and like it's a bigger screen, but not as big as IMAX.
Right. RPX is definitely a good experience.
Right. So
like you'll hear the sound in your chair. You know,
Right.
like you'll feel the sound in your chairs.
Right. So therein lies that. But anyway, like if I you know, the one thing I could think of wanting to have that experience with, you know, is probably not going to happen. And even if it did, I was like, you know, I could have a similar experience at home. I would still do it though, just for the experience. But I don't know. Like I said, one of these days I will have to actually check that theater out to see if it's actually what it is. That was something actually I was going to mention to you. That 3-screen experience that you said that the ScreenX thing is it almost sounds like it's almost trying to emulate a curved. Not saying it is. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the orientation of all 3 things, but it sounds like it's trying to do like a curved monitor experience.
Kind of. I have not yet actually experienced a curved monitor, and you know, my understanding is that I would more often use that in gaming. So that's one of the reasons why I have not yet really sat down with one. But yeah, that's kind of what that's kind of what it seeks to emulate, I believe.
Right. From what I've gathered about it and what I've heard about it, you know, that's what it seems like. So I don't know if that's the case. I'm sure if there's somebody out there who can, you know, better let us know about that. I'm sure they will. But hey, this has been Comic Book Chronicles Tech Talk.
That's right.
the very
movie technology edition, right?
Indeed, the very few times that we have them per year. But yeah, that's cool though. Like I said, that sounds like a good experience either way. So that being the case, though, unless you got something else you wanted to.
No, I'm good on that. I'm good on
cool.
that. We can move it along.
Then we're gonna go into the books of the week, starting off with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Heroes and a Half Shell. Turtle Power.
Number 12. Had to get
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 12, published by IDW, is written by Jason Aaron, with art by Juan Ferreya and letters by Sean Lee. So this is, sad to say, the last issue for this particular creative team. Jason Aaron and Juan Ferreya have done just a great job, a bang-up job in setting a new tone, a new stage for the Turtles to kind of, give us. My understanding is that it's a continuation of the status quo, but it's like the lightest, mildest reboot you've ever seen, and it really does, through this 12-issue story, kind of reform a solid foundation for the Turtles. And we get at the end of this issue a fun cliffhanger that provides fodder for the next arc. You know, the next arc is going to be written by Gene Luen Yang of who did American Born Chinese, and I believe the artist is someone else of note.
It's Freddie E. Williams II, the third. Excuse me.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Who has a history with the Turtles? because he's done other those Turtles crossovers. So, but yeah, no, that's pretty much, you know, like this was a great ending to the 12-issue stories, and a nice little cliffhanger, you know, to kind of lead into the next series of stories. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Yeah. The thing that we have been wondering about during this whole current run was the status of Splinter. And we seem to have gotten a slightly more concrete answer to that in the form of what happens at the end of this book, or what we see at the beginning and in this book, and also the narration. Because this whole time we were wondering, is like, okay, are the Turtles and April going crazy? But we've come to find out that no. I mean, which we already knew. Like I said, we kind of knew prior to now, but we just still did not know what the case was with that. And like I said, with the way the book kind of ended, we have a little bit more concrete answer to that. There are still a couple of questions that I have in my mind, because there was this whole thing. Like, there was a point in the issue where Donnie was like, "Oh yeah, I've got experience with you know, the mystic arts." I'm sitting here like, when did it happen? But of course, you know, there was a previous volume that I'm sure they're drawing on that neither one of us read.
Right. That's what I meant when I said, you know what, this is still, you know, it's the softest reboot possible, because it just builds upon everything that's come before.
Right. So it's like, it is weirdly making me kind of want to go back and read some of that. And even you know, we were talking about new stories from that stuff, I was like, that's interesting, but even weird for the Turtles. Which is saying a lot, because the Turtles have gotten some weird shit. So over the course of years. In fact, it looks like if the image after the story is in the indication, they're going to be doing their own battle. They're going to be doing their own contest of champions in next, or in a couple of months, I guess. So that's going to be something, and I'm not sure if that's based off of a video game that's coming. It seemed like it might be, but I'm not entirely sure if that's the case. But but regardless, yeah, it was. We're softly let out of the Jason Aaron Juan Ferreya era into the new era that will start next issue with Gene Yang and Freddie E. Williams. So
yeah. I'm very glad that I had a chance to express my my admiration of the Turtles art to Juan Ferreya at New York Comic Con, and had a chance to buy 3 prints of his Turtles art at New York Comic Con. You can see images of those prints on Instagram and Threads at @agent_70.
There you go, pimp it. Yeah. So therein lies that. And with that, we are going to move on to the next book that we have in common, which is Ultimate Spider-Man number 22.
Ultimate Spider-Man number 22 is written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Marco Cacchetto. Colors on this book are by Eric Arciniega, and letters are by VC's Corey Petit. Lots of stuff is moving, folks. This issue of Ultimate Spider-Man has a lot of wheels turning. It's 3 months later, after the events of the previous issue, where things seem to have gone very poorly for the Mysterios, right? When I say the Mysterios, it's not a cereal. It's actually kind of a concept in the Ultimate Spider-Man corner of the current Ultimate Universe. And you start to see in this issue how things are coming together in the wake of those events, concerning the Mysterios, and how Harry Osborn, this version of the Green Goblin, and Spider-Man and family are all coping with with these events. And we see how let's just say this was a surprise first appearance, or a first appearance of a version of a character that I'm not all that fond of, but I understand that, you know, it's the ultimate version. It's not necessarily a superior version, but it is an Octavius version, right? And when that happened, I was just like, oh no, right?
I thought you liked Superior.
Nah, I mean,
feel like we all did at certain points of that book.
I mean, we see, the thing is, what I always liked about it was that it was an inventive way of, you know, doing a Freaky Friday type of story, and it was, you know, fun, but I thought it ran its course, and you know, I learned to you know, begrudgingly tolerate the concept, but I was glad when it was over.
Interesting. Okay.
That was me, you know. That was me.
Yeah, and again, that is you. Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
and
that was
you know,
me. But it was interesting to see, you know, that this issue happened to have, you know, kind of that the ultimate version of that version of the character.
Right.
On top of everything else. That's what was funny. You know, it's like on top of everything else happening, we get the ultimate version of the Superior Spider-Man.
Which I felt like we knew was going to happen at some point. Because
there was certainly foreshadowing, right?
Right, because it just felt like, okay, Otto's doing some mess, and I feel like that's just gonna happen. But I guess we didn't expect it. We didn't know it was going to be in this particular way. You know, because we know this book's coming to an end, just like all the other Ultimate books.
Right.
So it was just like, okay, I figured, I guess Hickman was like, you know what? Folks knew it was coming, so we'll just go ahead and give him this little tidbit. Oh, unless he's got something else cooking still, because I think it's supposed to end in 24, just like other books. So if that is the case, so yeah, there's only 2 more issues left.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't know, but it was just funny. It was like, okay, so here we go. We saw that, but it wasn't in the way that I was expecting to see Otto like that, but we did see it. So checkmark stars. Outside of that, I don't actually let me check my notes real quick, because I don't think there's anything else to really say about it. Oh yeah, well yeah. So you know, there might have been a look out, here comes the Spider-Man moment at the top of the book. Otto's an asshole for denying a girl soy sauce. I was like,
not just, I was gonna say, it's not just her too. Right.
Well, yeah, everybody else except for him, but yeah.
Right, exactly. I'm just like, what does he have against soy sauce?
Right.
You know, freaking Otto Octavius in any world, you know?
Right. So that part was like, it's like, you ass. But
I'm like, you got me rooting for J. Jonah. You know, I'm like, Jonah's got JJJ's got the soy sauce.
Right. So, and it actually, this issue kind of had me thinking, wait, did I miss something? And I know I've been up on the book and I hadn't missed any issues. Like, so I feel like it partially felt like I missed something from the last issue to this one, but I know it didn't. Or at least I don't believe I did. But everything was still, the pieces were still there in places. And the other reason why Otto's an ass is because he sent somebody off to do something that he could have very well done himself. Especially given the fact that the equipment he had on him, but his reasoning, you know, was whatever it was, which sends somebody else, you know, this other person to go after somebody, to go seek help from somebody who, of course, would be good at the thing that they needed them to do in that situation that was set upon. So, you know what? Sure, whatever. That's the way. But apparently Otto's been studying up on the Maker, which again is also pushing up on the Maker's coming back, seems like. So, and as well as another book that we will talk, actually with the book that we're about to get to in 1 second. And we get a nice little Peter and MJ moment, you know, in there for some added sauce, if you will. So that was a cute moment in between them. So yeah, that was all Ultimate. Excuse me, Ultimate. No, that was Ultimate Spider-Man. I was thinking Absolute for some stupid reason. But that was Ultimate Spider-Man number 22. We're actually going to stay in the universe with Ultimates number 17.
Ultimates number 17 is written by Dennis Camp with guest art on this book by Phil Noto with letters by VC's Travis Lanham. So this is a kind of tough book to follow, but you have to understand that this book is kind of based around the attempts to build a force and resistance against the Maker in time for the Maker's return, the eventual return. And the funny part about how they bring the team together is that one of the members is in fact this Ultimate Universe's version of Reed Richards, who's not going by Mr. Fantastic, who's not going by the Maker, he's going by
Doom.
I was going to say he's going by Tony Stark as Doom. Oh, no, I'm kidding. But he's going by Doom, right? And, you know, I guess the conceit of the story is that he realizes in this ultimate version that all is not as it should be, right? Because of the meddlings of the Maker, that there is a hole, a 3-character hole in his person, in his identity, right? That seems to be a 3 ghost or 3 specter hole that seems to shadow him wherever he goes. And that's essentially the conceit of this story and the storytelling that goes on through this book. And that is, you know, kind of where we stand at the end of it. And I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his input on this.
Right. So yeah, so there was a couple of things that, yeah, like Agent 7 said, kind of make this particular issue slightly hard to read. Well, I knew it slightly, but it's hard to read especially if you're not, you know, up on. I feel like if you read a couple of issues back to back, you'll probably be in a better place to for this issue. But even then, probably not. But and I say that because in this issue, we're seeing Doom kind of flashing back in time to memories of his in this universe, all while talking to both Tony Stark and later on Hank Pym, who at the time I was like, you know what, Hank Pym might not have been the best person to talk to, but I was also thinking the 616 version of Hank Pym at the same time. This version is not too far off and not that much better, but as we've seen him anyway. But he hasn't gotten to the lengths that he did in 616. But that being said, like I said, we see Doom's talking to, like I said, them two, and Tony's distracted, so he's like, because he's got 1,000 fires in the oven, while Doom's trying to talk to him. But apparently he paid enough of attention to pretty much know what he's trying to get at, as you know, Doom's kind of wrestling with things while these, as Agent 70 said, these specters in his head are kind of through his memories are kind of coming after him, and of course more shades of this Project 4 business, which, come on, you know what that's about, and that we get updates and whatnots on that. So that seems to be shaping up the way it's shaping up. Also, there was a funny little note that at least a funny to me note, especially after reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, in the fact that Tony mentions that he was dealing with some teenage mutant assassins in South America. And I was like, nah, the only thing they could have done was just put that in New York, and that would have been like, now we know what you're doing there. So that doesn't necessarily mean that there is a nod to that, because obviously mutants, you know, in this universe, in the Marvel universe, is a little different than, you know, in a lot of cases, a little bit different than the Turtles of note. But still, just the wording of it Just it was kind of like, okay, that's funny. That's real funny. Also, I wonder if we will ever see that, or maybe actually, maybe we have seen that already, and that's something we'll see in an issue, or we may have already seen. But either way, therein lies that, and Ultimate being continued to be the book that it is, still continues to be a great read. So I enjoyed it for what you can, with the little shifts in note and tone that this issue had. But yeah, it's marching towards the Maker's Coming once again, just like we said with Ultimate Spider-Man. So, and in this particular case, it's like, okay, so does that mean Doom, Doom's definite tie to the Maker is probably going to be the thing front and center when all of that comes about, or not? So I guess, but we will see when that happens in a couple of months, or we might be seeing now in that encouraging book, but I don't know because I have not been reading it. That being the case, though, we have gotten through all of the books that we have in common. So rapid fire.
All righty, folks, here we go. Rapid fire review time.
I ain't got time to bleed.
All right, first up for me is Absolute Wonder Woman number 13, published by DC. It's written by Kelly Thompson with art by Matthias Bergara, guest art. Colors are by Jordi Belair and letters are by Becca Carey. So this is the first story in a new arc talking about the, I guess, what had been verboten is the best way to put it, right? What had been verboten about what we know is traditionally Diana of Themyscire's origin. The fact that there is a Themyscire, the fact that there is a Paradise Island, and there are a couple of plot points in this book that are, kind of slow to unfold and look to be kind of the next arc, or at least part of some of the plot points in the next arc in this book. One of them is, what happened to Themyscira, 1, and 2, what is the price of magic? It's a story that we've kind of explored in the pages of Doctor Strange. It's interesting to see it explored in the pages of Absolute Wonder Woman because we've never really understood Diana to be a magic user until this version, this absolute version. So I think it's a fun little exploration of the cost of magic in the absolute DC universe because, while the trope and the plot point, is similar, I'm sure that this has been explored, in the pages of Dr. Fate comics and Zatanna comics, and I'm sure that's all been a previously explored plot device. It's kind of cool to see it explored here where magic and mythology kind of cross over. Right? That's really...
No, go ahead. Sorry,
What's that?
go ahead. I was about to say,
that's really where it makes it fun.
Right.
Because we're used to the mythology part, throwing the magic in and kind of mixing that in to the way the character works, makes it interesting for me. You were saying?
I was about to say, I want to say that's what they did with Justice League Dark with Diana being on the team. Because in the last probably 10, 20 years, they've definitely been pushing her more into the more magic side.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, from what I've gathered or bits and pieces, because like I remember there was a version of Justice, and might still be a version of Justice League Dark that was like more magic kind of leaning, and she was like the lead of it and whatnot. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody can clarify that they've been kind of pushing Diana in the main universe, a little bit more on the magic side, which it kind of makes sense because the whole mythology magic thing kind of runs along hand in hand with her, with her origin being what it is. So,
Right.
but anyway.
All right, next up is Justice League Unlimited number 12, also published by DC, is written by Mark Waid, with art by Dan Mora, colors by Tamra Bonvillain, and letters are by Ariana Mar. This is how I described it to Roddykat is that this is a tie-in to DCKO. It is one of those tangential books, those books that deal with the byproducts or the aftermath, the butterfly effect of the DCKO event. And there's some stuff going on with the people on Earth who are not looking to necessarily evacuate, but take advantage of the situation, right? And that's, there's some kind of interesting things going on, complicating the evacuation of Earth in the midst of things going all dark-sidey, apocalypsy. Apocalyptic, in more ways than one. So that's basically the gist of this Justice League Unlimited book. I think Roddykat is going to read it. That's why I'm painting with very broad strokes. Next up is Fantastic Four number 4. It's written by Ryan North with pencils by Humberto Ramos, inks by Victor Olazaba. Colors are by Edgar Delgado, and letters are by VC's Joe Caramagna, our favorite lettering paisan, the hardest working letterer over at Virtual Calligraphy. This is also something I know Roddykat will be catching up on very soon, so I'm going to paint this with very broad strokes. This is kind of the second kind of Alicia Masters centric story that I can recall over the last, let's say, year, because one of them was her and Reed in Blood Hunt, right? If you remember that. And this issue, I think this is much more of a standalone story as opposed to a crossover into that Blood Hunt event. But this story really focuses upon Alicia's experience as a non-sighted person and how that affects how she approaches a particular problem and how she even approaches Reed Richards asking him for a solution to a particular problem. And it's really well done. This is definitely a clear candidate for Click of the Week for myself. It's too bad that Roddykat did not read this. He probably will very shortly. Next up for me is Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu number 13. It's written by Jed McKay with art by Domenico Carbone. Colors are by Rachelle Rosenberg. Man, that's a bad typo. Rosenberg, my God, where the hell did my fat fingers go? And letters are by VC's Corey Petit. I believe it was the previous issue that had, a little bit of MCUification of the Moon Knight team of characters or a group of guest stars in Moon Knight, because we get one of the characters that appears in the Moon Knight MCU Disney Plus show. Basically the other hero that appeared in that show, that was introduced into that show, appearing now in the pages of Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu. And, they're on a quest to basically deal with something that is haunting the Wrecker. And it's kind of fun. We get a guest appearance here from Clea, the Warlord of Manhattan. And, or the Warlord, yeah, I think it's the Warlord of Manhattan. That's her title in the absence of Doctor Strange, and he's not the Sorcerer Supreme, and neither is she at this point in time. So, it's kind of fun to see these characters interact. Clea and Moon Knight actually have a fun interaction themselves. So, that's just to be that's to be expected of what Jed McKay is doing with Moon Knight in the pages of these, of this book. Let's see. Next up, Undead Iron Fist number 2 of 4 is written by Jason Liu with art by Fran Galan. Colors are by Jim Campbell and letters are by VC's Travis Lanham. We get the Undead Iron Fist racing against the clock of a burning banner to solve a particular problem, and it turns out that we are going all the way back to kind of the story of the immortal Iron Fist, right? And the story of how that story has been told and recorded, and that is the source of the conflict in this Undead Iron Fist book. And I think this is going to read very good. It's going to read very well as a collected 4-issue miniseries. So, we're halfway through now. We kind of know who our main antagonist is. We have a guest appearance by Daredevil in this issue. I'm looking forward to how this miniseries wraps up. Last but not least is an Age of Revelation tie-in, Radioactive Spider-Man number 1. It's written by Joe Kelly with art by Kev Walker. Colors are by Chris Sotomayor, and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. This is Spidey X years in the future. That's the tagline for all of these Age of Revelation books. But he is also subject to side effects from the explosion of the gene bomb. The gene bomb that 3K set off, where we saw a lot of the stories explaining the Age of Revelation tie-ins and miniseries that are coming out of that book, out of that event. Last week, we're getting a few more this week. I only got to the Radioactive Spider-Man book. There's a couple more this week. I think it's the Omega. What's the book?
Omega Kids number 1.
Yeah, the Omega Kids and the New Wolverine book. So, we'll try to get to those. A lot of them seem to be kind of tertiary books, but they might be worth just taking a look at. Ultimately, I wanted to read this because I'm curious to see what would happen to Spider-Man in this kind of scenario. And Joe Kelly sets out kind of like a baseline for why Peter is in the situation that he is in this book. Makes sense. It does make sense. And there's a guest star in this issue who also kind of makes sense, who is kind of an X-Man, kind of not, and dealing with the current reality of the Age of Revelation and the Revelation territories. It's all very, the allegory and the analogies are run very strong in this book. And so, I think this is probably, if you're a Spider-Man fan and you want to see how he's going to interact with some X stuff that might happen in the future as a result of something happening in the present, well, you know what? Guess what? You may want to take a look at this book. And that's it for me.
Cool. Yeah, they've at times toyed with Spidey, either being a mutant or being mutant adjacent at various times. So it kind of makes sense that he's involved.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, first up for me, we got to rev up the machine by going.
Tally ho! Wings of silver, birds of steel.
Silverhawks number 9 is.
I was about to say, sadly, the sound dropped on that.
Yeah, probably, but that's fine. It'll be fine in post. Written by Ed Brisson, art and colors by George Cambadias, and letters by Jeff Eckleberry. So, you know what? A whole bunch of trouble happens in this book, which is also kind of sad because if for what I've read at the end of this book is the case, then the next issue of this book is going to be the end of the book as a whole. The Silverhawks are, mid-mission when they're trying to enact this plan that their supposed ally has cooked up with that could be a suicide mission if it doesn't go right. Or not necessarily a suicide mission, but definitely a very risky mission. Let's just say that could get them stuck. But while they're on the mission, they get contacted by the base, and we come to find out, and which we kind of knew. I think we may have already known that this ally, whose name is Arkezi, had been going around doing some dirt that he blamed on Monstar, and the team gets wind of this, and they confront him. And of course, as tends to happen, things kind of escalate from that. Unfortunately, it escalated not that far from Monstar. So, which means that he's gotten into he brought himself into the thing. And almost in animated form fashion, he pretty much does the thing that Monstar would do, that also Munra would do, and that would be
Moonstar of Limbo. Give me the might, the muscle, the menace of Moonstar.
Okay.
Now imagine hearing that and Mumra transforming at the same time. You would be there for the length of an animated show. But yes, that happened, and like I said, you got into the action, and things didn't seem to be going well for our heroes, put it that way, out there and at the base, because the Arkezi kind of planted something there that he activated, I guess I'm assuming for contingency's sake, that causes some issues at said base. So like I said, it looks to be that next issue is could very well be the last issue of the book, which is sad because it was a good book, and I enjoyed it. But we should see if that is actually the case, or that was just a swerve given the how the situation was. I don't think it was, though. I'm fairly certain that's pretty much the case, but I would also have to check solicitations. Next, the book for myself is Space Ghost, because I can't seem to find the thing, but that's fine. Space Ghost number 4 is written by David Papose, with art by Jonathan Lau, colors by Andrew Dahlhaus, and letters by Taylor Esposito. So we start off with a small bit of history having to do with a part of the universe, and more specifically a couple of warring factions, which brings us to the present in a peace treaty between said warring factions that the Space Ghost team is kind of shadowing because they want things to go well. But of course, in true fashion, things don't. So that leads to a good bit of action, and quite possibly, maybe, well, let's put it this way, the team split up and they're doing the thing. They're doing their things. One gets in trouble for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, which leads another member of the team to have to try to dope things out. But all of that happens in the under the backdrop of these two groups squabbling again, and one decided to basically kind of nuke the place in a very specific way, which tends to which leads Space Ghost to kind of go into action, and yeah, things go a particular way in that respect. And also I see a typo for myself, but that's fine. But yeah, that is Space Ghost, which continues to be a pretty good read, so enjoy it. if you're are checking it out anyway. And the next book for me is, I mean, granted, there's a theme here, so you know. Thundercats Lost number 7, written by, once again, Ed Brisson, with art by Rafa Lobasco, colors by Rashan Kirichi Yano, excuse me, apologies, letters by Jeff Eckleberry. So after the events of last issue, the team decides to stick together despite the fact that, you know, they're on a ship in the middle of the sea, and one of them had just been had to walk the plank, but which leads to, you know, a good bit of action and lead to the captain of said ship, which is a captain that folks of, if you know your Thundercats lore, would definitely know. You know, being around for we see the captain after a time jump, which looks like it's putting us in step with the current Thundercats book, if I'm not mistaken. We see the captain of the ship spinning the tale that he went through, and I do mean spinning because of the way he was telling it. You know, in a very familiar bar that we have definitely seen before, but that just leads to a confrontation, and also cutting back to the team, basically, not necessarily, well, kind of sort of licking their wounds, but also trying to deal with the fact that one of them might not be around next year. If things continue to go the way they are. So, but also there might be an anime reference, an anime / manga reference, as there's some beings that I don't recall ever seeing from the Thundercats, seen in the Thundercats lore come to play, unless it's something new, but it definitely sounds like something that you would find in Attack on Titan.
No way.
I am not even joking. That comes in at the end of the book. So it's kind of not necessarily, well, yes, I'll just leave it at that. If that is something you want to check out for yourself, then by all means do so, because it was kind of funny to see. And last book for myself is The New History of the DC Universe, number 4 of 4. So this is the beat by beat timeline of the DC Universe up till now, and I say up till now because that's exactly where where this book ends to a point. It starts off talking about Blackest Night, I want to say. I believe that is the case, and goes through, you know, other DC bits of history, of a couple of which I will mention here. Oh, actually, I need to do the creative team. It's written by Mark Waid, art by Howard Porter and Hayden Sherman, colors by Hi-Fi and Triona Farrell, and letters by Todd Klein, from what I could piece together from League of Comic Geeks. Because it damn sure wasn't in the book for some odd reason. And that could very well have to do with our version of our review version, and not the book on the shelves. But like I said, you know, Black Lanterns, Flashpoint, the other Wally West, whose name was spelled out here, and I did not know his full name, so go figure on that one. There was a mention of a Great Crisis, and I had myself thinking, which one? Because there's half a dozen, and I'm assuming they.
That's awful.
I'm assuming they meant the very first one, Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earth, but I don't know. Like I said, the reference there was just kind of a offhand remark, but it was like, okay, there's been a few, so you gotta be specific. But either way, there's also a couple of lines that I wanted to mention here that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny and interesting. One being, certain contradictions were forgotten by all. and that line goes from there in relation to some specific characters, one including Wonder Woman, actually, now that I think about it. So that was kind of funny. It mentions Justice League China, Dark Knight's Metal, so you see where I'm getting to. The whole Dr. Manhattan thing, Naomi gets brought up, Wildcats and the Authority gets mentioned, Elseworlds get kind of explained. So they kind of really did it. And a couple of, I bring all this up because there's also another thing that got brought up here was Superman had a temporary invulnerability to kryptonite at some point recently. Is that true? Or I don't know if you know, Agent 70.
I mean, that's the solar power thing, right?
From
When it goes
how
all
it was
gold?
explained is if he gives up like a couple of hours of his power or something like that, then he's invulnerable to kryptonite for a time.
Oh, I
So
think that's
I
a little different from what from
Right.
from my understanding.
Right. So I'm like, when did that happen? But like, I'm not sitting here saying that I keep up with Superman, so I don't know. So this could have been something very, very recent. I don't know. DCKO actually gets mentioned, funnily enough. And it ends, of course, with like, hey, you know what? The future's still kind of out there, and there's some stuff out there that kind of gets not necessarily mentioned in the past, but you see.
Right.
Some
Like this
potential-
takes us to now, basically, right?
Exactly. So, yeah, and like I said, DCKO was mentioned, like I just said, and then they get into like, it's like, hey, you know what? The future's kind of still on out there, and things are still to come, and blah 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 blah.
That is the gold Superman thing. I see the invulnerability to kryptonite. That's the slot book that's going on right now.
Oh, so what? Unlimited? Is that Superman Unlimited?
Yeah,
or something
I
like
think
that?
that's Superman Unlimited. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So, but that was like, oh, that's weird. I did not know. So there you go. So therein lies that. Oh, Naomi, which was I think this is the first time I've seen a mention of Naomi in probably a few years.
Mhm.
And in that mention was apparently the fact that she got well, that's not new. It's new to me hearing about it. She got her a superhero name out. That's not Naomi. So I did not know that. Unless I was in that Young Justice book and I just don't remember it because the end of that book I don't remember. Either way.
Yeah. So this covers Dark Knight's Metal. I see.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes through all of that. Like I said, Elseworlds gets explored. Future State also gets
I need to read this now because this is going to absolutely get me caught up. It's the Crib Notes. It's the
exactly. Yeah, it's the Cliff Notes for the DC Universe.
It's the Clip Notes version.
Mm-hmm. But that was the thing with this book. It made me want to actually read some of this stuff, like go back and
That's
actually
good. That's a good thing for Mark Wade. Then good on him.
Isn't. But I mean, yes, just in general, because it's like we've said in the past, DC's got a bunch of bonkers shit in its user, and this book is supposed to tie that all together, and we weren't really sure how. And all they just basically did was just like, yeah, this happened. Even in this issue, there was a couple of things like, hey, you know what, this happened. Keep pushing, and that's all it did. So it's like, and it even had me a couple of scraps in my head. I was like, okay, now I got to know what the heck that's about. But there's a couple of times where the pages that come after kind of was like, yeah, that happened because it's referencing to something that they talk about in pages, in the next couple of pages or whatever.
Sure, this starts with the Black Lanterns. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so the beats are there. It's just that it doesn't necessarily go through everything, which it wouldn't and it shouldn't, because it's
It
just
can. It literally can. Not in a 4-issue limited series like this.
Right. Like if it did, like you know what, I didn't check. I don't think it did. It did, but if it did like the World to Come, for instance, did, and there's like a timeline in the back of the book that kind of is like footnotes, issues to read to get the gist of some of the stuff. But again, it's DC and it's just bonkers and the crises and everything else that happens. Like, yeah, it's just kind of like I said, that one line that I told you right off the bat. I mean, not right off the bat, but right after the fact, is telling the certain contradictions were forgotten by all thing. That is very telling. It was like, you know what? Yeah, we're just going flip. And apparently it's all Dr. Manhattan's fault, though, by the way. I'm just going ahead and spoil that because some of y'all might know this, some of y'all don't. The way it ends, though, of course, we have Barry Allen narrating this. He ends in it ends in a very amusing way, and I'm sure Agent 70 is looking at it now. He'll get to that point, and at the end when it finishes, it focuses on the thing that you could look at and say, "Oh, that's clever," but also you could also say, "Oh, that's cheesy." Because if we see Barry Allen in a certain place, could be kind of meta, but coming out of a place, and then it just focuses on the name of the place.
Yep.
And I found that very, very funny. I was like, okay, that's kind of dumb, but also funny, but in the most DC way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall, like I said, if you are interested in a beat for beat, just a going through the motions timeline of the history of the DC universe, you kind of can't go wrong with this. As we just said, it's the Cliff Notes version. So if you find yourself like myself, potentially wanting to see about where what happened in some of this stuff actually, which I realistically before this book came around, I was kind of wanting to do anyway. Then you have that. If not, then you got this for what it's worth. And I know that's a little bit longer than Rapid Fire, but this book had to be, it had to be spoken of at length, despite what it is. And that, folks, ends the books for me. Kliqs of the week.
All righty, folks. Kliqs of the week.
I'll be honestly, as much talk as I've just given to New History of DC Universe, it might actually be that, but probably not. I don't know. Stay tuned for the next couple of minutes, folks. Do you have your potentials?
I do have my potentials. They include Ultimate Spider-Man number 22.
Mm-hmm.
They also include Fantastic Four number 4, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 12.
Okay. Yep.
And Absolute Wonder Woman's always up there. So I've got a good batch of books this week. Radioactive Spider-Man was also pretty good. But I think those 4 that I mentioned previously are probably the prime candidates. How about yourself?
As I mentioned, New History of the DC Universe, definitely one of them, funnily enough. Ultimates. And yeah, Ultimates is one of them, and Ultimate Spider-Man is, per usual, is up there. I'm actually debating about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ones, because yes, it is. I agree with you on that, but something about it was like, it's a little bittersweet. I don't know, but
because it's ending and they're going in a slightly different direction.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I get that.
But that still doesn't stop it from being good. It's just like, all right, well, on to the next, I guess. And I think that's probably about it. Like Silverhawks and Space Ghosts were good, but I'm not sure if they're gonna make it cut on this one. Like that. Yeah. Do you have your pick?
I think I can narrow it down. I think that of those 4 that I named, I think I'm going to go with what I really enjoyed this week. Was Fantastic Four number 4. That was a pretty fun read.
That's and a usual pick for us, because it's just been that good. So yeah. Is that what you're actually?
Yes, that is my Kliq of the week for this week.
Okay, solid. Like I said, I cannot be mad with that pick. Probably I would have also picked that if I had read it. For myself, yeah, this is a dumb pick, but I'm gonna do it anyway. New History of the DC Universe number 4 of 4. Because like I said, it's the fact that they actually went off fairly decently for what it is. And you know, as we saw with the first book, like it's doing what it does. And it's just, like I said, going beat for beat, doing the thing. It's not going anything extra or anything. But the fact that they actually got it done and just like, no, we're just going to keep it pushing. They actually put all that bonkers ass shit together I'm going to be nice and say fairly cohesive way. Because we weren't sure if and or how they were going to do it without resorting to what they did, you know. So, and they did it, and it's a done deal. But still, it would have been nice to see like a nice little timeline after each issue. But I don't, like I said, I'm going to look and see while we're going into the news section if that is the case, because I might have missed it, but I don't think I did. And with that, folks, those are our Kliqs of the week. We are going to go into the news section, but first, an ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Funko, Fun at First Sight. It's your home for exclusive collectibles such as their world-famous pop vinyl bobbleheads, apparel including t-shirts, hats, and socks, and brand merchandise including custom DIY pop figures, art books, and skateboards. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy 10% off your entire purchase when shopping at Funko. To place your first order with 10% off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Funko link and place your order. When you get to the checkout, put in the offer code SHOP10 for your 10% off discount. Funko through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news. Oh, Roddykat may be on mute.
I was on mute. Before we get into the news, have we heard from friend of the show?
We have not.
Okay.
No incoming message. No message via our current means of communication.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Our current means of recording.
Right. Then he must have gotten busy because this is usually kind of late.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
So maybe that's the next week thing. So no problem, folks. We are going to get into the news section with the cinematic news. First off, apparently Skybound and Hasbro, not surprisingly, may be adapting an animated series based on the Energon Universe. So let's see. Yes, Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo de Felici will be colliding on. Oh no, you're talking about Void Rivals. Deadline Hollywood is reporting that Kirkman Skybound Entertainment and Hasbro Entertainment are teaming up for an adult animated series adaptation of Kirkman's comic book series Energon Universe. I guess I'm assuming the universe as a whole, because there is no actual book calls that. Either way, Lucifer showrunner Joe Henderson has been tapped to pen the adaptation and serve as showrunner, with the series expected to be taken out to buyers soon. This will be another interesting thing to tap Matt Wang about if he knows anything about it. Not that he would tell us anything, but so yeah, I'm if Andor wins. Well, according to the article, it also says it's saying it's merging G.I. Joe and Transformers together in this series, and I would assume Void Rivals is gonna also somehow be in this. So I'm very curious as to how they were going to be tying all of that together in one show. Honestly, because that's a lot of moving parts, and it already is in 3 books. So, guess we'll see if that happens. If I know when that happens. Next up.
James Gunn rules out Darkseid as the big bad for his DC universe because Zack Snyder, quote, did it so cool in his way and because of Thanos' appearance in the MCU. So, in a joint interview with a number of YouTube channels that focus on Easter egg breakdowns of superhero franchises, Gunn said that because director Zack Snyder had intended and even briefly featured, I'm like, when did this happen? Darkseid as the DCEU's overarching enemy. And because of the character's similarity to Marvel's Thanos, the DCU was looking elsewhere. Let's see here.
Who else is bigger than Darkseid in the in DCU? Unless they go with a Crisis and
They'll probably go with like Neron, like, or the Devil or something. You know what I mean?
or whoever that lady was from that one thing from Darkseid. Well, I guess from the start of Dark Knight's Metal, I guess, or before that, or whatever the case. I don't know. I guess that's the case.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the couple of sites that they mentioned here, I have actually watched some of their stuff, and I totally forgot Heather Antos was a part of one of those when it was a part of one of those sites in a capacity. So that's amusing. But also the whole Zack Snyder did it so cool. I'm like, okay, if you say so. The Thanos, if he had just left it at, yeah, Marvel did it and Marvel already did Thanos. So therefore, nah. You know what? I'd have been all right with that. That's just me, you know. And like, also, wait, and this is we're spending too much time on this. I recognize that, but was like, wait, Zack Snyder did Thanos. I mean, I know that actually happened, and I visualized.
You mean
I see
Darkseid?
it. No, yeah, Darkseid. Excuse me. But I was like, I know all that happened, and I remember it, but it's also still could have been. Anyway, you know what? I'm going to shut up because there's a lot said about that whole situation. It's just still dumb. But yeah. Oh, also shout out to Von Gloom in the chat who says Peter Gunn for Prime. Peter Cullen, excuse me, Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen.
Prime. Yeah. Peter Gunn is a whole different
That's
situation.
funny.
Yeah,
right.
But yeah, what's up, Von Gloom? Glad you're with us. Next up, though, one of the best indie comics of the last 5 years, according to this article, is getting its own movie, and that book is 8 Million Genies, which is Charles Soule and Ryan Brown. According to this article, said book is one of the most unique, compelling, and tonally exciting comic books in decades. Again, that is this comic book. I mean, that is this article who is talking about this. This is nothing from me or from us. The miniseries follows a small group of characters in the wake of a planet-wide event that throws everyone and everything on Earth in chaos. Every single human being is, at the exact same moment, giving a magical genie who fulfills any one wish they ask, which sounds like everybody got the H dial if we're using DC terms, but only got one use. I remember seeing about this, but I don't think either one of us read it. I'm fair, or did you happen to read it? Because I know you know, I don't know. I don't think you did. I'm going to take that as a no. Uh-oh.
Look at that.
Huh.
Hey guys,
What's going on popping in?
I just wanted to say hello, swing by for a couple minutes before I crash, but just wanted to say happy post Comic-Con.
Honestly, we were just talking about you like right before we started the news, and was like, yeah, it's kind of late, so we didn't think a friend of the show, Matt Wang, by the way, folks, is in the house for a couple of minutes. So
Good to see everybody.
Yes, good to see you too.
Well, actually, we can't see you because your camera's not on, but
Oh, my camera is off. Hold on. I'm still trying to figure out this Discord.
it's okay.
Yes, we all have to adapt to the changing telecommunications or video conferencing landscape. Trust me, I was in the same boat when we first started using Discord myself, so
Right.
Yeah, so but while at Matt Wang 97 figures out his camera situation, we can talk more about what we encountered at the latest iteration of New York Comic Con 2025. I'll tell you that there were a lot of changes actually to the New York Comic Con experience going from 2024 to 2025. And now that I can, and I talked about this the other week, and Matt can back me up on this. Now that I can compare it directly to my experience at San Diego, I felt like New York was very much, you know, forget footsteps. We're talking about like neck and neck. Then no one's following the other. I felt like New York was definitely laid out in a very similar fashion to San Diego. And having dealt with the panel room situation much more recently with the large panel that I attended on Friday night, I have a feeling that when it comes to panel and kind of other types of offerings that Comic Cons can offer, I think that New York can compare favorably to San Diego. But I'll hand it off to at Matt Wang 97 for his thoughts, just as a whole, because he's just getting with us today.
Oh, Jesus, man, I am.
You're with us.
Yeah, sorry. We've had this discussion before, and I think obviously they're both very different cons in some ways, right? Where San Diego is a volunteer nonprofit organization, while New York Comic Con is, owned by a large corporation. So I think they approach things a little differently. And this is not a judgment on either. I love them both. They're just kind of slightly different things where you go to New York Comic Con, there's going to be a lot more, organized corporate sponsorship. It's in New York, so you have a stronger book presence. In my mind, a stronger literary book presence. And New York, where DC used to be, where, Marvel Comics is based, and kind of like one of the global epicenters of publishing. But you also feel that the fact that its own right, is more corporate owned, so you get these stronger ties with larger companies, which is why you saw, the Walmart activation, eBay activation. And, San Diego is a little bit more homegrown, started, very much a comic book show. And, you still feel it's like volunteer roots at times.
I get it. Listen, I definitely see that. Now that you mention it, knowing your understanding of the history of San Diego and some of your involvement with the organizers, I get that. And I appreciate that perspective, because I will tell you that I was very surprised to see, Walmart had a very large presence on the floor of New York Comic Con. They were giving away bags that included, I believe they were handouts to get, like I've always complained about the collectible, like buying collectibles on Walmart and some Marvel Legends being exclusive to Walmart, but also they were giving away, I believe it was a reprint of Marvel Zombies #1. That was included in like a tote bag that they were giving away to passersby. Whatnot also had a pretty big presence on the show floor, and they were responsible for the big drop of the Mass Appeal and Marvel collaboration, Legend Has It, that we all got our hands on. So if you want to see what that cover looked like, you can go hit up my Instagram at @agent_70 or on Threads at @agent_70.
Yeah, no, look, still, love the show. I think the big difference we've talked about a lot is really Artist Alley too, right? Where in San Diego, Artist Alley is it's part of the main floor, much smaller section. Artists are scattered kind of all over the floor of San Diego, while in New York, it's right in that kind of center lower area in a very prominent placement. I was watching. I saw a quick interview with Klaus Janson, the inker, and one of the things he said, he's been going to New York Comic Con and since the beginning is really, when people are coming to New York Comic Con, there is a sense of like you're doing business, right? Like you're going there for autographs, you're going there for photo ops. You are going and you scroll through your social media feeds, you'll see the people who have who did 10 photo ops, or you and I love Artist Alley, like
Right.
we're getting signatures, meeting artists, meeting writers, right? So I do get that sense, in San Diego, it's the collectibles, and I definitely saw New York Comic Con was definitely pushing that a lot more this year, which I hadn't seen before.
I had not heard of that particular comparison, that we're there to do business, but at the same time, I see that more now that I can compare the two. I felt like the rush for, I can only speak to my experience getting exclusive collectibles and going to Hasbro and get, braving the line to get to Hasbro and then deciding to plunk down some money for the Hasbro Pulse membership to get on, to kind of cut the line, right? It's a vastly different experience at New York. Right, I didn't have to do anything really. I could have walked up at any time. I didn't need a Hasbro Pulse membership to get to any of the exclusives at the Hasbro Pulse booth. So it's like you said, I think that's probably still a main difference between the two. It's the same thing with Tamashii Nations, with Bandai, all of the collectible. All of the booths that would offer something exclusive and collectible, I think that stuff is still the primary kind of expertise or the primary focus for a lot of the experience at San Diego. So I agree with you on that. That's a good observation. Having seen them now and being able to compare them, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, everything in San Diego I get a line up for. Oh, I want an ornament. Oh, I want a piece of gum, and I will say this for the Javits, I'll give them a lot of credit. The food options at the Javits have improved significantly over the last decade, right? Whether it's on the floor, right, along the edges where, you can get different types of dumplings, or not just a hot dog, or you can get a taco, or empanada. And then with all the food trucks, and then you have the food court. I mean, look, it's still not cheap. It's the Javits, you're in New York, but I think the variety of things you can get are amazing. And look, they're great about, if you're bringing food, just like the Disney parks, you're bringing food in, you're bringing a snack, they don't give you a hard time.
That's something I definitely noticed, because I ate some of the bad convention food in San Diego, and I was very, very kind of hard pressed to find something to grab for lunch if I didn't kind of leave the convention center and go to something between the hotel and the convention center to get something to eat. So I can definitely say that from what I observed, that New York has a slight leg up on that. Were there any issues that you had, Matt, with finding things on the floor at New York? Did you find that, especially, I don't know if you dealt with it too much over the weekend, because that's when it rained, and if I feel like when the weather turns a little bit inclement, then it does get slightly more crowded on the show floor in New York, because that's where everyone's forced to go. And everyone's just sort of indoors. They're not kind of wandering outside doing whatever. taking photos?
I think, not yes and no. I think on the convention floor, I'm pretty comfortable. I spend so many man hours there, so that's usually easy. Like I can usually find the booth very quickly.
Right.
And or just like move around, end to end. You've been if you've gone to New York Comic Con enough, like like there are certain secret paths and routes and which way you can walk.
Right.
I think what was newer for me, and Artist Alley is the same way for me. I think what was newer for me was, you and I's, Kids Day was set up a little differently, so I was exploring new areas. And then I actually did a photo op this year, which I never do. So that was a very new area for me. Like going in, trying to find the right place. People were really friendly. It was very well organized. Then had to have the gumption to make sure I kind of got to the right area. I'm a New Yorker. I don't mind dropping a shoulder. And then getting to the area, and it was well organized. We were worried the wait would be pretty long. It just looked intimidating, but it turned out to be, we were online probably like 20, 30 minutes. And then we got to our photo op, and then we were done. It was awesome.
Right. So that was your first time in the photo ops, right? I've only ever done one photo op, and that was last year. Right?
Who'd you do again?
I went to go see oh my gosh. Her full name is escaping me. It's she played Hera on Ahsoka. Mary Louise Mary Louise Winstead?
Oh, Winston, yeah. What's his name? What's his name's wife?
I don't want to call her that, but yeah. Obi-Wan's wife.
They met on Fargo, which I remember that season. It was a great season of Fargo. Yeah.
Yes. But she is very attractive, and I did a photo op with her, and I had a very similar experience where I thought it was going to be crazier than it was, and it wasn't. I walked in, I didn't have to wait very long at all. And I think, part of it is that I don't think she was one of the she was one of the lesser popular photo ops. I think the photo ops that you went to was pretty popular. I think those were in demand, right? You can tell everyone, who you got a photo op with. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded getting a photo with them.
Yeah, they were great. It was great. But Roddy,
who was it?
No, I mean, we met the two of the three K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh, okay, nice.
So Rumi and Mira.
There you go.
Yeah. But Roddy, so Agent 70 finally came to my office. He's actually been twice now. And I picked up something.
Already laughing.
I picked up something for you. I showed Agent 70, and I'll confirm your mailing address, but I'll ship it over.
Oh dear. Okay. I get. You know what? The last thing you sent me is still sitting right here behind me because I can't find, because I have no place to put it. Or I have. Let me phrase that. I have not the place I don't want to put it. To put it that way.
Agent 70 laughed when he saw it. It's not that big. Don't worry.
No problem. I appreciate it either way, good sir. I appreciate it because he also warned me that it was that time of year for you. So you're gonna have some stuff that you might be wanting to part ways with for the reasons that you have to. But it's
just to make room for more cool things. That's really
oh no, it's always so folks that don't know that this is the thing that happens every now and then with Matt Wang. So and he has to do a restocking. So therefore, he has some stuff that he he lets go of one way or another, and the funniest thing is that the stuff that Agent 70 and I have found ourselves with because of that. Some great stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, okay. I was not expecting this or these.
People send me stuff, so I can't keep it all.
Oh yeah,
exactly. No one can.
Oh,
no
actually,
one can.
Matt, side note, because actually, and like I said, we were just talking about you, and I know there's probably not much you're going to say, even if you know anything about it, but we were just talking about the fact that Skybound and Hasbro may be getting together for an animated show on the Energon Universe. How you feel about it, sir? Yeah.
I'm really excited. I think the Skybound team has done such a good job with with the GI Joe and Transformers brands. I think they've been good stewards of the brands, and I think they brought a lot of excitement to both of them. And it's great that you're starting to see the toy tie-ins, right? You see the new Optimus Prime, with the Megatron arm.
Right.
Yep.
And Robert Kirkman just kicked off his run with issue 25 of Transformers. And I think for me, this is definitely sort of if you think about the last company that had Transformers IDW, they were sort of like a peak, and it was a slow build to get to that peak. And I'm very optimistic for what Skybound's doing. So I was very excited when I saw that news.
Actually, dang, now I wish I had my my optimistic Optimus Prime shirt with me. That's
right. I was about to say, we also got that Void Rivals Jetfire. Exclusive.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I know there's a person in the chat, one Von Gloom, who would love a Shredhead figure, but we're still holding out hope for him for that to happen.
I think I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
I know, that's what we told him, because it has to. It kind of has to.
It has to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just excited that, they had Bruticus. I like... I love the IDW stuff just because they had so many of the random Transformers that no one ever sees.
Right.
And, I was a big fan of, the Lost Light, that whole storyline. But and I just know you can't introduce too many of them. But, when they're talking about the Combiners and the Triple Changers, I get super excited. I definitely want some of the ones we rarely saw, right? What was it? The Predacons and the which were the ones that became Computron? The Futurians.
You guys have lost me, because this is long after I lost. I lost track of a lot of the Transformers stuff.
Right. The funny part of it, the only thing I can remember is Computron, because I barely remember what the name, and I keep thinking Aerobots, which I know Aerobots is not them, but
no, it was
on around
Technobots.
Yeah.
Technobots, right?
Technobots.
Oh my
yes,
God.
that's it. And because I had the Technobots.
God! And then they had then there was the Seacons, or there was the
yeah.
And then there was the which was the combiner with the monsters, the Terracons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and who's to know? Kirkman could be. Because I mean, we already got the two original ones, so it's only a matter of time to where they introduce the rest of them. If and when they choose to do that, so which I won't mind at all. But I lost my train of thought. Now we start talking about Transformers, because how I get.
Yeah. How's it? I'll be honest. I haven't spent much time on the GI Joe stuff that they've published,
right.
but I've heard good things, so I definitely need to check it out.
I mean, they're definitely working their way. There's Transformers stuff that is also in there, which one, because of the way the Energon Universe was formed out with that part of it. So, and they even got I don't know if you've been keeping up with Void Rivals, but they even got Cobra Law Jokers in space. So they're definitely keeping people in different, and of course, the couple of Cybertroners that are out there in that book. So they're definitely kind of making the universe, kind of lived in certain spots. Cybertroners are pretty much in every aspect of it. Is basically the case I was trying to make. So,
Nice.
yeah, and it seems like they could be leading up to G.I. Joe Transformers thing, but I don't. But that's probably going to be a ways away if they do. But they are definitely putting stuff out there to kind of feel like that could very well be the case. We still don't have ninjas also, but that's a whole nother situation.
Dude, you always need ninjas.
Right.
Right?
Right. So we still don't know what they're going to do on that end, but outside of that, no, the Joe stuff's all right, with some stuff that they're setting up. And even with some of the changes they've made to some characters. So
just a couple of quick questions, Matt. Don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah.
So, other than me correcting myself because in my old age, I keep forgetting Mary Elizabeth Winstead's name. I got to drill that one into my head again. Was there anything that you missed out on doing, or you kind of, let's say it's kind of like a twofold question. Was there anything you missed out on doing that you wish you had done, or is there something that you kind of regret not doing because you didn't make time for it?
I think the panel you went to, I would have loved to have gone. There was also a Friday late night, Friday like 6 o'clock, 6:30 with the Marvel RPG panel that I wanted to go to. I think just with the setup at the Javits, it is harder to do those. You have to go all the way at one end, go up, and look, I know it's a good con when there are things I didn't get to do.
Yep.
People I didn't get to see. Booths I didn't get to go to. I'm me, I'm not a guy. I'm not a guy half empty type of person, and it just makes me want to go back to it next year.
Sure. Sure.
We know you
like I don't know if
busy
you
at those
I don't know if
things
you
also.
caught this. What's that?
I was just saying, we know you're usually busy on that, or usually during con time. So the fact that you get out for your own benefit to anything is kind of amazing.
Yeah, and it gets busier. It gets busier every time, but it was great. It was really good. It was good.
Yeah, listen, Wang's always conducting business at the same time, so there's always stuff going on. Like one of the, I'll mention this because I don't think Wang caught this on the show. I think the one regret that I had was not going to at least get an autograph from Martin Sheen and getting him to sign like my copy of the West Wing Weekly book. That's one thing. Like, I don't know how often he's gonna do a convention near me that I'm gonna be able to get to, and where he's doing autographs and appearances. So that's kind of like my one big regret of not, that's just something I should have done, this time around. So, but in terms of like comic book stuff, I mainly got most of the people that I wanted to see and picked up prints from. So I was pretty happy about getting that stuff done.
So that being said, what's the best thing I guess the best thing from the cons that y'all either got or saw?
It's a good question.
I got two sketches in my sketchbook. Agnes Garbowski, who did a beautiful K-pop Demon Hunters, and then I had Colleen Duran do for my girls Shaggy and Scooby.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Like in terms of what I got, like the stuff I got is highlighted on my Instagram on @agent_70. I think one of the highlights was a big Spider-Man print. I think you saw that one, right, Matt?
Yeah.
The red and black. That was a pretty cool. That was a pretty cool print, right? That was a highlight because I got comments on that everywhere I went while I was walking or waiting online.
All right, cool.
I'm just trying to think what else. I mean, look, the Sanrio booth was awesome with My Melody and her twin sister. It was a really good activation. Multiple things you can do. A lot of wide open spaces, a lot of photo ops. For all the for all your Calico Critter fans out there, the Calico Critters booth was pretty cool.
I did. I actually saw the Calico Critters booth, and I thought of you when I passed it by. That's very funny. I did not see the Sanrio booth. There's still like Matt mentioned, there's still several booths I do not recall passing through at all. And there were animation booths. There was a Mappa booth, Mappa Studios booth, that I don't think I ever walked past. I saw the sign because I know I passed it by, a couple of aisles down, a couple times during the con, but I never got my butt over there to see what they were doing. So yeah, like you said, that's the sign of a pretty busy con.
Yeah, which in respects, I guess, is a good thing. So
yeah. When you're I was hanging out with friends who were either from out of town or only in for one day of the con, so I had kind of taken care of my business, quote unquote. That's kind of circling back to what Matt was saying earlier. I had my own business to take care of Thursday and Friday, and took care of that so that I could kind of hang out most of Saturday and Sunday. And I feel that I'm going to end up having to take off Thursday next year so that I can devote Thursday and Friday to just really, really kind of concentrate on myself and what I need to do. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday and Sundays often when friends and whatnot are coming in to hang out at the con with me. So
yeah, no, I definitely right up there with you. I plan my schedule or around the con.
Yep. I have a feeling that Thursday is going to be a full day for me. It's usually been like a planning day, but I kind of learned from my experience at San Diego with Thursday and Friday. Well, Thursday, the first day of the con, is a full busy day. You can get a lot done on that day because there's usually just there's just slightly fewer people, there on that Thursday. So if you can get there on that Thursday, there's so much you can get done.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna crash for the night, but good seeing you guys. Always happy to talk about my con experiences with you guys. Look forward to talking more news and actual comic books. I'm only like 1 or 2 weeks behind, so
it's amazing to me. How you do it, no idea.
All right.
Yeah, no, you guys read a lot more books than I do. I'm only about like 20 to 30 a month. So, but good to see you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Before you go, I have to put you on one quick spot, sir. The facial hair, you plan on keeping that? Because I don't think I've ever seen you.
No. I've just been. It's been a very busy work week. So I'm trying. I will probably be shaving tomorrow. So, but thank you.
Not a problem, sir. All right, you have a good night, good sir. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, definitely.
All right, peace. Have a good night. There you go. There's the pop-in. We spoke of him, we mentioned him, and he appeared.
Yeah, there you go. And now I got to fix this shot again, but that's fine. Why does that keep happening? Anyway, so we are going to get back into the news.
I was about to say, that was awesome. He came in almost right on time.
Yeah, that was a pretty good time. It's as if we spoke him into coming through.
That's right.
All right. Wow.
It's getting kind of late. He might. Oh, yes, he is. There he is.
Right. It was like, oh no. I was like, you know what? That's what we love about him. He's a man of his word. Let's see. While I fix Agent 70's shot, which I probably shouldn't even be mentioning, but that's fine because it may end up staying into the show. Let's get into some anime corner with the next thing.
Well, it's live action, so are you going to count that as anime?
Sure. It's still anime. I mean, it's anime.
All right. All right. So, guess what, folks? This is I'm actually looking at what this is about. So this is actually about the upcoming live action adaptation of My Hero Academia, right? And what this article is talking about is that they're trying to avoid a live action adaptation that kind of misadapts the manga. And one thing that the film screenwriter believes the project has a key strength to make it appeal to fans is that Jason Fuchs, who is also co-showrunner for HBO's It Welcome to Derry, said in a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly that the My Hero Academia production, its greatest asset is its direct collaboration with the author of the My Hero Academia manga, Kohei Horikoshi, and that Horikoshi is very involved in the adaptation's development. Okay. That he's involved in every stage of the creative process. That's pretty cool. With the, direct approval, thumbs up or thumbs down on all materials. Wow.
Yeah, that great. So if it should be the fact that it still goes south, then we know who's to blame for that. Because live action shows have a bit of a history, a little bit of stank on a lot of them.
Right.
So there's only been a couple that have actually been, one noteworthy and actually good. So the fact that they actually get the folks that's involved with the manga / anime part of it, then, all the better. Give it a little bit more authenticity, and hopefully, not too many weird, stupid changes, I guess, that people have problems with.
Right.
So that could hopefully only be a good thing. Next up,
right. It's still in, I was about to say, I was just going to add, it's still very early in its production.
Yes. So they have time to, to iron some things out. So, and I know Agent 7 will be looking forward to seeing that. Oh, wait, let me phrase that. I don't know about looking forward to it, but I know he would be definitely checking it out at the very least.
I'll be curious.
Yeah. Next up, though, I don't know why that happened. Chainsaw Man. Actually, you should probably speak on this one, but since you already have, you don't necessarily need to. Chainsaw Man, the movie, Arc Best Demon Slayer by debuting with a perfect Rotten Tomatoes score, which you know how I feel about Rotten Tomatoes, so the fact that I even put this in here is something. But apparently, it's doing good in the box office. In this, in the fact that the movie just came out, quote unquote, tonight as we are recording, so. A Rotten Tomatoes score for a preview night for a movie that is only officially, now granted, nobody's going to seriously suggest that, people are not going to like it, unless it's just a terrible movie. Ended up being a terrible thing. But if you've heard what Agent 70 said about it, that was his opinion about it, then I'm pretty sure he's not going to be the only one who feels pretty good about the movie,
Right. I will say it's funny that this article talks about the Rotten Tomatoes score just being above Demon Slayer, which is at 98%. Good God. Talk about a bunch of Asian moms who are just like, what happened to the other 2%? But one of the things that my buddy at Boss Jones and I were talking about is that we kind of wished we had the opportunity or the forethought and the knowledge to have watched the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie in ScreenX, because that would have been off the chain.
Right.
Now that we know what it, how an adaptation into the ScreenX format would work, that would have been insane. It's a shame that we're probably not going to get an opportunity to watch it in that format. But goodness, if we had that opportunity, that would have been awesome.
Well, there's always the next Demon Hunter movie, so. Because I'm pretty sure there is going to, because I think they said they were going to do the last couple in movie form. So,
yeah, the last two. Yeah.
So you have another chance if they so choose to go that route. Wait, have you? So this is your first. That's what I meant to ask you earlier. This is your first ScreenX thing, just period.
Experience, yes.
So you haven't seen anything in live action in that format.
No.
Okay, interesting. That would be the other thing I would be curious about as well. Because I feel like the only thing that is similar is like stuff at like something at a Disneyland that used to have a thing that was kind of similar back in the day. Like a If You Had Wings type of situation or something, but that was technically all around. So yeah, that would be interesting one way or another. Either way, we're gonna move on to the next thing with the next story. Issue.
Alrighty. The Apothecary Diaries Anime's second anniversary video released today revealed that the previously confirmed sequel is a third season that will air in split cour, with the first to air from October 2026 and the second to air from April 2027. An anime film with an all-new story by original author Natsu Hyuga was also announced for a December 2026 theatrical release. Okay, so we've got a year to wait for new Apothecary Diaries stuff. So that gives me plenty of time to catch up.
Turns out people like that show. I've heard there are a couple of people that I know of that actually, that's just anecdotal, but really like
I've heard
that
good
show.
things. It's on my list.
So, outside of that, those hyperbolic articles that we saw about it being better than X, Y, and Z. So,
right.
But therein lies that. So good news for those folk. Next up, though, we get into some comic book news. So apparently Grant Morrison did an AMA on Reddit and to promote his Batman Deadpool book that is coming up. When questioned about the use of AI generated imagery in their newsletter, the 65-year-old writer gave a characteristically complicated and bizarre response because Grant Morrison.
Of course.
I'll just read a little bit of this because this thing is long. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can. A few people have, whatever. A few people have asked this question, and I don't know if my response will satisfy, but my intention has been to form a deliberate relationship with AI, as I might form a magical relationship with an angel or demon. I see AI as a new kind of awareness with the misfortune of being to be waking up on a planet run by suicidal, self-serving paranoid apes. Lacking evidence in God, we've done what humans are best at and built one of our own. Sadly, the impulse of the masters of... You know what? I'm not going to read all that, but you can read the rest for yourself. It is a very Grant Morrison response. But if you can kind of get an idea, and of course, this caused some, even with that little statement that I said, caused a little bit of criticism, a lot of bit of criticism and concern from other folks in the biz. So, this is going to be a thing that's going to happen one way or another. So, but yeah, like I said, that's in the show notes if you want to read that whole thing for yourself. But he seems to be all right with AI being around. If I'm phrasing that out. Next up.
That looks very complicated to read.
DC. Yes.
DC Comics opens the forbidden door between AEW action and cosmic chaos with DCKO, Green Lantern, Galactic Slam, Intergalactic writer Jeremy Adams and artist Cian? Cian?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Cian Torme team up for a DCKO tie-in Amongst the Stars as Omega, Bam Man, and Kyle Rayner head into the ring for Green Lantern Galactic Slam. Goodness gracious.
Which sounds like a video game, and that artwork
Yeah.
is not helping beating the allegations of it either.
Yeah, so this is a special tie-in issue in January 2026, written by long-running Lantern writer Jeremy Adams and drawn by legend of the page Cian Torme. And let's see, it's going to live on the edges of the biggest beat 'em up in recent DC history, DCKO. It's actually going to welcome readers into an in-universe cosmic wrestling federation. Popverse talks about it in this article. Okay.
Yeah, because of course it will. So, like I said, we're still at the beginnings of DCKO, and I should have asked Matt if he checked it out, or if he had a chance to check it out.
Yeah, he said he's only a week behind, so that
Right, so
puts
he
him
probably-
right at the edge, right?
Right. So, but yeah, January 21st, 2026 is when this Green Lantern Galactic Storm book is coming out, and we'll probably be checking it out more than likely. Or I will be checking it out. I don't know, I can't speak for Age 70 on that one, but at least once we get to that point, especially. So we shall see. Next up, Batman breaks reality with Deadpool in a new Marvel DC crossover. We got to sneak peek. So this is the aforementioned Grant Morrison penned Batman Deadpool book crossover that is coming. So according to this article, it doesn't just feature Batman Deadpool, just like the Deadpool Batman did. There's going to be other pairings such as John Constantine and Doctor Strange, Nightwing and Wolverine, Laura Kinney version of Wolverine, Harley Quinn and the Incredible Hulk for some strange reason, and probably the one that interests me, Static and Miss Marvel, written by G. Willow Wilson, and with art by Dennis Cowan. But yeah, the John Constantine.
Who I met at New York Comic Con.
Who?
Dennis Cowan.
Oh, nice.
Remember, I got the John Wick print. If you
Yes,
take a look
you
at
did
my
mention
Instagram,
that.
you'll see it.
Yeah, you mentioned. But yeah, the Constantine, Doctor Strange is Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, Hayden Sherman, Mike Spicer, and Frank Veskovic. Excuse me. The Nightwing and Wolverine is Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo, Adriano Lucas, and Wes Abbott. The Harley Quinn Hulk is Mariko Tamaki and Amanda Connor, Tamara Bonvillain, and Dave Sharp. And I already said the creative team for the Static and Miss Marvel stories. So yeah, and there's some preview artwork in this article for those stories that is in that book. And the Batman Deadpool crossover is going to come out November 19th. So catch it. Next up.
Alrighty. Batman Beyond returns with a new crossover, and we have the first look. So, so this is going to be Batman / Static Beyond, a 6-part crossover series presented by writer Evan Narcisse and artist Nicholas Draper Ivy. And let's see. Looking for price and publishing dates. Price and publishing dates. Scrolling. Here we go. Batman Static Beyond #1 is set to hit shelves in a store near you on November 12th. November 12th, 2025. And it's later going to get a collected edition scheduled for release on August 4th, 2026.
Yep.
Probably $4.99 a pop.
Probably. Yeah, the preview pages are one. Nicholas Draper Ivory was the one that wrote the last couple of Static miniseries, so it makes sense that he's on this, and that was some pretty good stuff there. So, and this preview that is on here, I don't know what book this is coming out of, and I don't know why Chrome is being dramatic right now. But we're just gonna keep it pushing. But yeah, you can check out the preview pages right there. That goes into the crossover proper, or the team up proper, whichever one you want to call it. Next up, though, IDW's Death of Godzilla homages iconic Death of Superman cover art. If you're watching the video version of the show, you can see part of said cover art because this is a big image they used on this article. So, and yes, you can see the homage right there, which is also slightly kind of funny given a conversation that I had with somebody about Godzilla being used for something else, because I was like, no, they would never put Godzilla in Monster Hunter because they're not going to want you to kill Godzilla. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that. Okay. Sorry. I'm not going to say that this. I'm pretty sure, just like the death of Superman, this death is also probably not what it seems. Pretty certain.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah, but you know, if you're interested in what will entail, then you know this will be out pretty soon. So wait, this also even says something. It might seem strange to kill off the title character so early into a Godzilla shared universe, but IDW is making no secret of the fact that this is merely the start of a new and strange evolution for the massive kaiju. Godzilla will return in issue 7 as the Kaisei Energy Godzilla. So there you go. And yeah, that was for Godzilla number 6, which apparently is the Death of Godzilla. And just as we just said, this was just not the case that you expect the title would be. And if you're watching the video version, again, you can see the cover to 7, which is probably going to be a new Godzilla figure at some point, for certain. Next up.
Alrighty, next up. Meet the new Ultimate Daredevil, Marvel's cosmic take on a classic hero. So appearing in Ultimate Universe 2 years in, number 1, the issue is written by Dennis Camp and Alex Packnadel. The one-shot sees the return of the Guardians of the Galaxy who were introduced in Ultimates number 8. We remember that. Mm-hmm. The issue is split between 5 different artists: Patrick Boutin, Phil Noto, Francesco Manna, Lee Ferguson, and Javier Pulido, with Javier Pulido handling the Ultimate Daredevil sequence. Can't say too much about the character just yet, but we do know he's a cosmic hero recruited by the Guardians. Okay. Not the traditional Daredevil that we know, but this is, of course, an ultimate version.
Of course. Also, I'm like, wait, have we seen we've definitely seen an enhanced version of Daredevil. I can't remember if we've seen a cosmic version. I feel like we have. But either way, that's the thing. And also, you know what? I don't think I actually read that Ultimate Universe 2 years in, or because I feel like that came out already. Or no, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not in this coming. It is coming because yes, that's what this is a preview of. Never mind. Forget I said that. I could have sworn we had that book came out already because things are blending together. Some very great news on the video game front that Agent 70 and I both found out about at different times. Marvel Cosmic Invasion launches with Phoenix and Invincible Iron Man on December 1st, 2025, which we kind of knew was going to be somewhat soon. Because, yeah, you get the holiday money. Plus, the game seemed like it was already finished or near finished. So, yeah. So 2 more characters added to the roster. I think they're supposed to be 16 in all, if I'm not mistaken. There's some shots here of the 2 in the action, boy, if that Iron Man doesn't look like an MVC move right there, because of course it does, then yeah. Actually, maybe the Phoenix does too, but I don't remember too many of her moves. But yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out the demo of it, which is still out there on Steam, by the by, if you're interested in it, you can check that out. Or if you just want to watch me play it, hey, that VOD is out there on Twitch.
That's crazy. This game is about a month away.
Mm-hmm.
That is nuts.
Yeah, like I said, the shape that game was in during the demo, yeah, it makes it. And they did say they were going to stick to 2025, and that team's usually pretty good about the stuff they do. So, not surprised.
This will be a fun Christmas present to myself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Get you a little bit of beat 'em up in. You know, if you're a fan of beat 'em ups, you'll like it. If you're a fan of Marvel characters, you'll like it. You know, hey, it works in both camps. Now, I say that not caring anything about Marvel Rivals, but that's just me.
I was about to say, do we have any pre-order information on this?
I do not believe there is any, but I'm pretty sure if this is out, then it's probably, if it's not out there now, then it's forthcoming. Because actually, yeah. So the pages for the various places are probably out there, but I don't know if it's like you can pre-order yet. Probably so though, because like I said, there's only a month out. But this article,
yeah, it's kind of coming up soon.
So yeah, we can check on that in a second. While we go hit this next article.
An Avatar fighting game is coming out in summer 2026. Now, which Avatar are we speaking of? Let's find out as I click on this article. The 1v1 fighting game has a hand-drawn 2D art style and pits classic characters from the Avatar franchise against each other. I don't see blue cat people, so we're talking about air and wind and water people.
Yes, yes, indeed.
So let's see here. We can finally answer the question of who wins in a fight between Prime Aang and Prime Korra. Avatar Legends, the fighting game, which is a working title, was announced at New York Comic Con and already has a release date of summer 2026. The developer, Gameplay Group International, revealed a trailer with some pre-alpha footage that resembles Street Fighter, but with our favorite characters from the Avatar franchise. They may be your favorite characters from the Avatar franchise. I don't have any.
Because you won't watch it. And maybe you would, sir. Just saying.
There's no cat people.
I was about to say, yeah, well, I was about to say, thank goodness. I don't know what to say about that one, but
yeah, right. There's no cat people.
Actually, I didn't even see a page. I'll have to check Steam. But anyway, yeah, while I'm looking at that, I'll get to this next article, which is, actually, Agent 70, why don't you take this one?
Give me 1 second.
So why is that?
Netflix strikes K-pop Demon Hunters toy deals with both Mattel and Hasbro. Mattel will handle dolls, action figures, accessories, and playsets, while Hasbro will focus on plush, electronics, role-play items, and board games. The animated film debuted this past June and has become Netflix's most popular film of all time. No kidding. So yeah, that's some pretty cool news. Of course, everyone wanted it to be in time for Christmas this year, but no one had enough foresight to see that this was going to be hugely popular. It's very much like Grogu, that first Christmas when they kept the secret of Grogu and the Mandalorian too close to the vest and too well, so they could not take advantage of the character's popularity. In this case, it's a lack of faith and failure to understand what could be popular, and they didn't sufficiently license enough merch to satisfy even a portion of the fan demand as the result of the popularity of this music and of this movie.
Right. but also we told you, we knew this was going to happen.
Right. So the soonest this is going to hit, become available is spring 2026.
Got to ship them out a whole new door, as the saying goes. So yeah. I meant to look for the ramen. I don't know if it's here in the States, but yeah. And by the way, so yes, there are pages up for Marvel Cosmic Invasion to wishlist stuff, but not necessarily pre-order information just yet. So,
oh, you can actually do Mattel KPop Demon Hunters on Mattel Creations. You can get a 3-pack of the figures.
Oh, they already got that out there? Okay. Sure.
Yeah, because
Mattel
it's launching in November, right? Through
Right.
Mattel Creations. So you'll get an email. Look at that. I am signed up for Mattel Creations, so I don't think I'm going to get this email, though.
You might. I mean, if they cast wide like Hasbro Pulse does sometimes, then you probably will.
Yeah, so I probably will. I'm already signed up.
Yeah. But anyway, next up, let's see. Exclusive. Well, actually, it's probably good that I got this one. Ghost of Yotei joins Magic the Gathering's PlayStation's Secret Lair crossover. So, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised by this because that is a popular game at this point. So yes, if you're watching the video version, you can see the card of Atsu right there. Erika Ishii's probably screaming her head off. Well deserved, because who plays the character, who voices the character, excuse me. Well, plays, voices, acts, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, this is a part of the rest of that PlayStation Magic the Gathering Secret Lair, which I don't know if is actually up yet. It might be. I just hadn't checked. So, but yeah, there's the Ghost of Tsushima one, which is of course the previous game. And there you go. And also it makes sense that Atsu's water. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, next up. D&D returns to Dragonlance with legendary authors and star actor. Okay. 1 second. Let's see here. As announced on X, the legendary creators of the setting, Cultists of Takesis. Actually, I'm sorry. The setting is Dragonlance, right? So the legendary creators of the setting, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, are coming back to Wizards of the Coast alongside actor, dungeon master, Dungeons and Dragons fanatic, and Tiamat faithful Joe Manganiello. Goodness gracious. Dan Ayub, the recently appointed head of D&D franchise at Wizards of the Coast, shared a picture with himself, Manganiello, Weiss, Tracy Hickman, and his wife Laura, who created the popular character Strahd von Zarovich and the Ravenloft setting, adding the following caption: "When I took over D&D, I had some very specific folks I wanted to bring back to the table. Today, I had the honor of welcoming these folks back home. Amazing things ahead." Okay. So this is a not so subtle drag. So the people involved and a not so subtle Dragonlance t-shirt worn by Manganiello. It's safe to assume that this project will be related to the world of Kryn, co-created by Weiss and Hickman for TSR. Okay. Yeah, that's the setting, Dragonlance.
Yeah. Also, we say this every time. It's still kind of funny that Joe Manga's a big ass nerd, as much as he is. But that's cool. Getting a little bit of toy news here with 3-0 unveils new Power Rangers 1/6 Lord Drakon Evo 3 figure. So, not to be confused with the fighting game tournament, of course. Let's see. Lord Drakon. Actually, I can't even remember how to pronounce that. But regardless, Will feature a fabric outfit with a dragon-style helmet, red chest crystal, and wide cape inspired by his appearance from the Shattered Grid comic book series, which is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers big event, or one of them. As for the accessories, 3-0 has included swappable hands, along with the Dragon Dagger, Saba, and a set of green lighting effects. The will be priced at $163.99, because of course. And it is set for a Q1 2026 release date. And pre-orders are live if you are so interested in anything I just said. Last but not least,
we build Lego Star Wars gingerbread at Walker, a bundle of Christmas joy. God. Let's see. So the price is $59.99. There's 697 pieces. It's rated age 10 and up. It's set number 40806. It's over 7.5 inches high, 9 inches long, and 4 inches wide. So this is a modest set, relatively, made up of just shy of those 700 pieces I just talked about.
that's actually kind of
Yeah, it's an at in gingerbread format. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. That's, if you're watching the video version, you can see the fully assembled at Lego at right there. I'm not even gonna answer that question because I wouldn't know. But yeah, that's kind of cute. That's funny also. That is the last bit of the news there, folks. Before we get into the last ad read, we're gonna do a little bit of show and tell. Just a little bit. Because I know we're running a little bit. Well, no, we're not running long, but we're still running a little bit. Pardon me while I try to find out. There we go. All right. So Agent 7 said he doesn't have anything, but here is mine. One of them has been here the whole show, and that is this shirt that you see me have on right now. That you can kind of see right there. There we go. As I try to adjust the mic. So, you know, a little G.I. Joe action right there. No one is half the battle, as we like to say around here. So, there you go. It is one of the probably, 4 or 5 shirts that I just got. The rest of you will be seen at some time at a later date. Or maybe on my Instagram if I decide to put them out there. Because I did take pictures of them. I want to say I was going to say where I got them from, but I can't remember if they were a sponsor or not. So I'm just going to not do that. Now, as also mentioned early on the show, which I almost said something about them, but I did not. I did get my copy of Legend Has It.
Nice.
And if you're watching the video version, you can see the cover with the Sanford Green cover right there. You know, shout out to Sanford Green. Have not taken it out the thing because I need to find my back and board because this is a $30 book, and it's going straight to a back and board when it gets opened. I might
damn right
through it, you know. Actually, I need well, no, that's a thought I should probably keep internal for right now. But I believe they said this was going to be like 1 of 4 or something. I feel like they said that, and I'm tripping. And if that being the case, I assume at some point these are going to be out there on the market, either in just regular stores or, you know, the way they've did this one and put it on the Whatnot site. So I don't know. But yeah, that is the show and tells for me tonight. Can we get one last ad read?
Sure. Our last ad read of the night. Help keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment, That helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
And I probably should have said, legend has it for those who don't know or haven't or new to the show. That is the Marvel and Mass Appeal crossover hip hop book. That went on sale at New York Comic Con. I believe you can probably still go out on go to Mass Appeal or the Whatnot site and probably still order your copy of it if you so choose. But again, like I said, it's a $30 book.
Righto.
So only suckers for that like us that loves hip hop, and comic books. I guess you know the two shall meet. Would do such a thing. That being said, though, I think that's it. Yeah, there's nothing else on the slate. We have nothing else coming. We're free and clear for the next I don't know how many weeks or months. But that being the case, yeah. I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. Make sure you go check out his Instagram page to see all that Comic-Con goodness that he's throwing up there. But you can also find this here podcast on the Coastal of the Podcast Network. That's CSPN.us. Do it today. You can also find us on your podcast place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka iTunes, Google Play, and all Google Podcasts, whatever they're doing nowadays, Spotify, or the Coastal of the Podcast Network's SoundCloud page. Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show. And hey, if you want to catch us live, you can catch us mostly every Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, probably closer to 10 though, if we want to be really, really real about it. We try not to, because sometimes we got to be up early the next day, but sometimes it's true. Not the case. Yeah, things happen, meetings happen, and chatting happens, and whatnot happens, and forgetting to put stuff in place or also happens. Anyway, you can find us on youtube.com/TheKliqNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles if you want to see us live, but also check out twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles if you want to, see somebody play some video games, like I mentioned earlier, like Marvel Cosmic Invasion and other comic book games once I start bearing down that list. There you go. Make sure to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you know when we are on live. Indeed. All right, folks, that is it for the show. We will see you all next week for a brand new show. Thank you, Matt Wang, for coming by as always. Friend of the show, Matt Wang. We always love him and have him. Von Gloom, thank you for being in the chat as always, good sir. If you're still out there, we appreciate you, and everybody who's come by, whether you're lurking or go to the audio version after the fact or video version after the fact. We don't care. We appreciate you for being here. And with that, folks, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace. Peace. One. Wakanda forever.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron, Mr. Stark?